The Laken Riley Act is apocalyptic. Signed by Donald Trump on January 29th of 2025, the act essentially authorizes the Department of Homeland Security to enact a nationwide stop and frisk campaign on any black and brown people that have been accused of shoplifting. To give some background to this act, Laken Riley was a nursing student at Augusta University who was murdered while she was jogging in February of 2024 by Jose Antonio Ibarra, a Venezuelan man who was caught much ire for having been in the United States illegally. Ibarra had a criminal history of robbery and shoplifting and assault up to this point, including intent to harm a minor. The NYPD released him to begin with, but Ibarra is clearly a messed up individual, and that will not be questioned in this video. What will be questioned, however, is the complete illogic and racial biases at play in the aftermath of Riley's murder that have been coded into this piece of law. And it passed with prominent Democratic support as well, 12 senators and 46 representatives, including Senator Raphael Warnock, who called this act smoke and mirrors, but signed it anyway. Interesting. From the Congress website, here's what the Laken Riley Act says. This bill requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain certain non-U.S. nationals, parentheses, aliens, under federal law who have been arrested for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. The bill also authorizes states to sue the federal government for decisions or alleged failures related to immigration enforcement. So it's up to the discretion of the public eye and the police to determine whether or not someone has stolen and is a registered U.S. citizen. This is pure racial profiling. Say a person from Guatemala that is living in Texas is in a store and holding a bag of chips and a soda while speaking to a friend in Spanish. They could have a Rolex, they could have disheveled clothes. All that takes is for one self-righteous and passionate patriot to decide to take their stand and report them. Then the cops come and DHS come with the assumption they have a criminal illegal they need to detain and send to a concentration camp. Whether they're conversant or fluent or non-fluent in English doesn't matter. Whether they are actually U.S. citizens or not doesn't matter. They will be hassled, harassed, profiled, detained, sent to Guantanamo Bay or some other concentration camp and detention center to be dehumanized, neglected, abused, and raped in these facilities by the federal workers inside of them. This is what happened with stop and frisk. Those statistics are well documented. This is what happened at the border during the first Trump presidency, the family separations, the sexual assaults of children, the abuse of humans that has continued through to the second Trump administration. The case of Khalif Browder, they will not take precaution to ensure they're not sending away U.S. citizens. Plenty of Japanese Americans were sent to internment camps during World War II simply because they were Japanese and therefore erroneously linked to criminality and being a threat to national security, just as migrants from Mexico, Central and South America, and Africa are being criminalized and deemed national threats now. They are just trying to remove black and brown people from this country. And that's what this act is doing, plain and simple. You see the note of certain non-U.S. nationals. This may relate to the severity of prior records, but knowing the consciousness of America, you and I both know that this is just coded language to target black and brown individuals within the United States. They're not sending Norwegians and English and Germans back, now are they? And just the way they've taken the murder of an innocent college student and weaponized it into our lovely little white girls are in danger nativist and anti-immigration argument is just disgusting and purely hypocritical, given the rapist whose hand this act was signed by is the same hand used to grab women by the pussy, and the voice that praises Riley's name as a prop to further his agenda is the same voice that bragged about grabbing those women on a national platform. The press has interviewed Riley's father, Jason, about his thoughts surrounding the passage of the act, and his words and feelings are here. So he's quoted as saying, "I understand them wanting to come here for a better life, but when you have gang members and people who can commit violent crimes, especially against women, I think we can stop some of that." Oh, so this is now your feminist campaign, is it, Jason? He's talking about these gang members and, oh my God, MS-13 is coming into the country. Meanwhile, NBC News has published a study, and there are many studies out there, that there is no evidence of a migrant-driven crime wave. That's right. There is no migrant-driven crime wave. In fact, NBC revealed that crime levels overall have been dropping in cities that have received the most migrants. And there are, as I said, academic studies out there proving that neighborhoods that have largely migrant or immigrant communities have lower crime rates than other neighborhoods. Don't let them lie to you like this when information is at our fingertips. It's wrong. They're wrong and baseless. Jason is also quoted as preferring his daughter's death to not be so political, but is still happy about the discussions opening up around, the southern border. He says, Laken has been a rallying cry for secure borders and for the illegal immigration policies of this current administration, but there's many women we don't get to hear about, he said. So you don't want it to be political, and you want it to be this feminist cause, but you support the rapist who is using your daughter's name and tragic murder to make himself and his campaign look good while furthering his billionaire agenda with his country club of sexual predator friends. Jason, you have to be smarter than this. At the press conference where he signed the act, he said, "This is why I'm here and no one else isn't." He's using your daughter. He's using you, Jason. Wake up. You have to be smarter than this. Especially since you're backing not only a sexual predator, but a 30-time felony possessing, convicted in court of crime, who has pardoned the criminal records of January 6th terrorists whose records include sexual assault, domestic violence, and child pornography and child sexual abuse. They're using your daughter, Jason, and they're using you, you poor, poor fool. But you're too blinded by your whiteness and your bigotry to stand up for her, for yourself, and for all the migrant and immigrant families with daughters who have been and are going to be torn apart, detained, and subjected to the tyrannical rulings of immigration enforcement. Not to mention, the act itself is completely illogical. Okay, so we have random murders. Okay, so we're gonna detain shoplifters to stop the murders and then have a safer country. It doesn't make any sense. He's a criminal. He is the crime. And I'm just gonna end the video with this. Does this make you as angry as it makes me angry? Do you see the sheer fucking audacity of these devils? To co-opt the slogan of the black community dedicated to voicing protest against the erasure and injustices of instances of police brutality inflicted upon black women in this country? Repugnant, repulsive, morally bankrupt, very, very consciously disrespectful and downright evil. While we still fight for Sandra Bland, for Breonna Taylor, for a Tatiana Jefferson, and for every black and brown man, woman, child, and non-binary and non-gender conforming individual who bears the weight of systemic racism and institutions of policing founded in enslavement. You co-opt this slogan to further your bigoted anti-immigration agenda. White people are the immigrants. This is not our country. It's just, how dare you? How fucking dare you?